All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So welcome back for those of you who were able to attend the What's New last week. If not, there is a recording that is available on the community. Likewise, when we're done with the presentation today, we will record this and put this out into onto the community as well. So I'm Mike Larson, Director of Product Management. Alongside me, I have Luke Trafton, who's going to actually be conducting probably most of the overview today, and we may have Alyssa on, who's our product marketing manager. So we're here really today to kind of go through some of the functionality that we covered at a high level last week in a little bit more detail, and then just be able to take any questions that you have for any of you who have had their stage environments updated, have questions. We're happy to make this a forum to be able to answer those questions. So we do have a Q&A area. I believe the chat is actually disabled, but the Q&A area is enabled, so you can ask questions through there. So just a quick overview. From an agenda perspective, we're going to go over timeline, and then the two main topics today: collaboration, and then a couple of reporting and other miscellaneous enhancements. But the focus of today is going to be around collaboration. So from a broader timeline perspective, so last week, stage environments for our cloud customers were updated. Documentation is out on the community. So today, again, we're kind of doing a demo Q&A on some of the features. We will continue that next week and digging into more of the eCommerce self-registration features. And then your stage environments will be updated again with any updates that have been made kind of in the last couple of weeks. And then finally, we'll deploy Friday night, December 2nd, to your production environments. You'll be able to see all those changes live there. So that's the process. Probably familiar to some of you. For those of you who are newer, that's what we typically do for every release. So without further ado, we'll get into the features. So I'm going to turn it over to Luke here in a second, but just a quick reminder, overview, what collaboration is. So this is really allowing you to have threaded discussions, some file sharing with those discussions. It is enabled by domain, and be able to have some notifications around those discussions. So Luke's going to kind of go through in more detail, exactly how all this works, and walk through some scenarios for you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm going to turn it over to Luke.
All right, I will start sharing. So hopefully we can see my screen here. Yep. So I'm currently logged into the system as an admin, and currently the admin who created the collaboration space. And as you can see right here, this is going to be available on classrooms, general courses, and curriculums. So collaboration enabled in this domain with a section created, the collaboration tab is going to populate here. And in order to enable collaboration, we go into Administer System and Domains. Right now I have it enabled in the core domain. This is where we'll be able to enable collaboration, and it is going to be defaulted to off. So if we want to enable collaboration, we simply go in here and switch the collaboration feature to on. I go back to the classroom course where we have a section, a few enrollees set up to show, but we're going to go kind of back and forth and create threads and such in here. If we click into the collaboration space, again, this is a view as an admin. I will show the learner side, and this is going to be, the view is going to be slightly different. But on the admin side, once the space is created, they're going to be prompted with if you'd like the space moderated. And that's going to be one of the first things to select. If a space is moderated, then any newly created reply or thread is going to require an approval from a moderator within the separate moderate tab, which I'll get into, in order for that thread or reply to be visible. So it gives the moderator or admins a kind of way to just essentially moderate what goes in, what's allowed to be shown and such. It needs approval. And the moderators will be able to, which I will get into, you will be able to either approve or deny replies or threads. If it is not moderated, if this is switched to no, then whenever a reply or thread is created by a learner, it will automatically just populate within the collaboration space. You can also determine whether or not this collaboration space right here is active. So it's yes, if I were to switch this to no, as an admin, as the admin of the space, then no learners would be able to access, they would not be able to see this collaboration tab within the classroom course. The admin would still be able to go in and set this as active, but the learners would simply not see it. And if there were things created within this space when it was active, and then it was switched to not being active, and then reactivated again, anything that was in the space, any threads, forums, replies, would be carried back over, so they would not be lost. On this default view on the admin space, the first view we get is the forums. There will be, once the new space is created, there is a general forum that will be pre-populated. The admin, of course, can have the option to delete this if they want to get rid of it, but there will always just be a general forum created there. Only admins or moderators have the ability to create a forum. Within the forum, learners can create threads, and then within threads, learners can create replies, but learners cannot create forums themselves. And only admins or moderators have the ability to edit or delete these forums. Learners within threads and replies can edit or delete their own replies, but again, admins and moderators are the only ones who can take these actions on forums. And I'll also touch on inactive in a little bit. But so I created this test forum here, safety exam prep. And when you create a forum, you are prompted with a title and a description. The title of this is being safety exam prep, which you are required to enter. And then whatever description you choose will be pre-populated under here. So for the sake of this, I've created a forum, and within that forum, I've staged 3 threads and a reply. And this last activity column will show the latest activity that has happened within that forum, approximately how long ago it did happen, and the user who did that last activity. So clicking into the forum, we have a couple different indicators here, and I'll go over what all these mean. These are the 3 threads that were in the forum. So back here, it said that there were 3. When we click in, the 3 threads that are here, we have what's the answer to number 4? Charlie Moore is awesome. Let's talk about the new Black Panther movie. And within this thread view, it will show the replies, and it will also show the last activity within those threads. This indicator over here is referring to this thread was created and I have not clicked into it. So this is a new thread that I have not clicked into or interacted with. This green check mark in here, I'll get to in a minute, but that essentially means within the thread, I, as a moderator or admin, have marked a reply as the answer. So that essentially means this was solved. This empty dot is referring to that I have clicked in and I am aware I have seen what is in this thread. From this view, as an admin, I can make these inactive, pin, lock, or delete. Making inactive, if I were to make this thread right here inactive, I would still see it as a moderator or admin, but the learners would not. So if I logged in as a learner, I would not be able to see this. So as an admin or moderator, I can see that I have put this as inactive, but as a learner, which I can log in right now, if I go to the same course, collaboration, same idea, but here as a learner, as you can see, I do not have all of the admin options that the admin/moderator had. There are no settings, there's no moderator tab.
We're still seeing the moderator view.
Oh,
we're still seeing your original browser.
Let us fix that. Here we go. Now you should be able to see mine.
Yep.
Perfect. So from this view as a learner, still have access to my collaboration tab, but as we saw earlier, when the admin had the forums tab, settings, moderated and such, as a learner, I do not have those because I am just a learner. I'm not set as a moderator, so I cannot interact with any of those. If I were to click into the same thread, as we can see, there originally was 3 on the admin side, but since I was an admin and made one inactive, it bumped that down to 2. So as a learner, as far as I'm aware, I click in here, I only see 2 threads because as an admin, I made that other one inactive. And if I switch back to the admin side, hopefully we can see this now. And for the sake of this, I'm just going to make this active again, and it is back. If I click, make inactive, the other option is to pin. I can pin a thread. So let me pin this one on the bottom, bring attention to the Black Panther movie thread. Pinning a thread will do just as we expect. It will bring it to the top, and it will on the learner side as well. When the little pin icon to reference that. And then if I would like to, I can go ahead and unpin that and it'll move it back to its original location. The other action I can take as an admin or moderator is to lock. Now the difference between inactive and lock, if I were to lock this thread, the learner can still see it. It is still present. They just can't do anything within it. So if I switch back over, and I'll make sure I'm sharing the right screen this time. I switch back over to the learner. And if I go into the thread, it's back up to 3 because I have made that previously one active again. If I go in, I see this one is locked. I can see it there. I can see it's locked. I can click in and see what the thread was, but I can take no action. I cannot reply. I cannot like it. I can simply just see it. And bouncing back to the admin screen, I will unlock this. Now, if I click within a thread, let's click into Charlie Moore, since he's awesome. So this thread was called Charlie Moore is Awesome. And then the description was, I have pictures to prove it. So if we click in, the first reply is the description that he created within the thread. And when he created this reply, he has the ability, also you can do this when you create threads, you have the ability to attach files. So Charlie Moore, he has his reply here. As a learner, moderator, or admin, it doesn't matter, anyone in the space has the ability to reply to this. They have the ability to like it. If we like it, they get prompted with a little heart icon. And then there also is the ability to flag as inappropriate. You can also do this on threads as well. And I'll get into that in a few minutes here when we talk about the moderation aspect. But if I want to reply, we're prompted with a body. Confirm that Charlie Moore is awesome here. We have the ability to drag and drop files or attach. If I do attach a picture, we have a picture here, and we can reply to his reply with our photo at this point. Now, if I go back to the thread section, it's now showing that there is a reply within that thread. It is no longer showing it's new, showing I have interacted with it and the last activity has updated. Now, within this one, we have a couple things going on here. So within this thread, they said they couldn't figure out the answer to number 4 and needed some help. There are 2 replies within this, both by the same user, but it doesn't matter. Anyone can reply to it. The first answer is it 0.8. The second reply is, or is it 99.23. Now this reply right here has been marked as the answer. As an admin moderator, once you mark this as the answer, you cannot unmark as the answer, but you can delete that reply. So when it is marked, this thread has been moved, as we just showed, it's been moved to solved. And that's what this icon here is representing. This icon is representing that this reply has been flagged as inappropriate. So 0.8 was an inappropriate response for some reason, and it has been flagged. So at this point, thankfully for me, I am logged in as a moderator. This would require an action to be taken. So as a moderator, if I move over to my moderate tab, there's nothing to be done under threads because what happened was under replies. If I move over to the replies section, I can see the reply that has been flagged as inappropriate. I can see who posted the original reply and who flagged the reply. And as a moderator, you have two options to either unflag, you say, oh no, that's fine, that's not inappropriate, or you can delete it. We also have a way to prevent what we call serial flagging, whereas as a moderator, if I say, no, this is okay, it was flagged by my admin user right here. So if I unflag it, it gets out of this moderated section. And if I go back, refreshed it. And I come in here, it is no longer flagged. If I go to flag it again, I was the one who originally flagged it. This prevents users from flagging items multiple times. So we are prompted with an error that says you have already flagged this reply, you cannot repeat this action. So I have flagged it, the moderator said, no, it's not an issue. And then I try and flag it again, it will not let me. Another user, however, can go in and flag that reply. But once you have done it once, you cannot repeatedly do it. Another thing within the moderated section that we'll talk about, I will sign in or switch over to my learner account. So I am now back to being a learner. I'm not a moderator, I'm not an admin. So I'm going to go ahead and create a thread here. Say, please don't moderate this. Please. So as a learner, I've just created a thread. This thread now has an icon here that is pending approval. So since I'm the one who created this thread, I can see this. Other learners will not while it's pending approval. And then if I switch back over to my admin screen, which I am now, and I go over to my moderate tab, there is a thread here that now I need to approve or deny for it to populate. I can see who posted it, and then this has not been flagged, so that does not apply here. And I will go ahead and approve this thread. It seems okay. And now if I switch back over on the learner side, oops, wrong screen. Fresh. My thread has successfully been created. Another item that's worth mentioning too. So this is my thread, which has the original reply created with it. Even though I created with it, I cannot flag my own. But there is another thing worth mentioning here. If I flag anything here is inappropriate, while it is in the inappropriate state, while it is in the flag state, no other learner will be able to see this. So I'm going to just switch users here really quick. This person is also already enrolled in the course. But Charlie Moore flags something as inappropriate. If I go in, I cannot see that item that has been flagged. It has been hidden from, or sorry, it was in here. Here it is. So the image persists, but the avatar are hidden just so you know you don't know who it was that had posted it. But the message itself has been hidden until the moderator takes action on it. Just in case that whatever has been flagged is indeed very inappropriate, it is hidden for any other learner that was not the one that flagged it. back in as Charlie. And now I'll switch back over to my admin screen here. And to go along with a lot of this moderation and replies to replies, we also do have we have 5 different system events to go for notifications and then collaboration at this point. So if we look them up here, the events we currently have, we can configure these as needed. You will get a email notification when there's a flagged reply within the collaboration space. So this one would go to a moderator within the space to let you know that there's been a reply flag that you need to take action on. There's also flagged thread. There's just a new reply that is in the pending approval state. There's a new thread that's in the pending approval state, or a new thread in the pending approval, and a new thread that has been approved. So these are the current system notifications that we have to let moderators and a learner in one of these situations know that something has happened within the space. These are something we plan on expanding down the line. Those are the current ones we have right now.
And hey, Luke, so we had a few questions come in, and one was on that topic in general of notifications. So just to confirm, so when can be configured so that when a reply is posted, the person who posted the original thread or the previous reply will get notified, but there is not, confirm if I'm wrong, a notification to the learner of a new thread. It would only be for a moderator if a new thread was started, right?
Correct. The only learner notification we have at this time is when someone has replied to your reply. Then the ones we have currently for moderator are when there's a new thread in the pending approval state, when a new thread has been approved, or when a reply or a thread have been flagged. Those are the ones we currently have. Feel free to send any questions.
Yep. And then we had another question about when you're kind of showing how to add files, what file types and sizes can be added to a message. And I believe we have an independent configuration for that. Is that, do you know that off the top of your head in terms of which file types are allowed for collaboration?
It's whatever file types we have allowed throughout the system. I can get that list.
Actually, I've got that. We have a separate config. Sorry, I was messaging somebody else just to confirm this. Yeah, we have a separate configuration for allowed file types for collaboration. So it doesn't have to be the same as other places in the system. It can be separate.
Cool.
Carry on.
All right. Any other questions I might have missed? I have not been checking the Q&A.
Yeah, and so I guess there's one more. It's a little bit more involved. So having courses that are composed of several parts, curricula that consist of several courses, can a forum extend over parts of a course or courses in a curriculum? And so I think the answer to that would be that you would turn on collaboration for the curriculum and not for the items inside of it. That way you would kind of have one space to go, for that cohort of folks. Does that sound right to you?
That does.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was all we had so far.
Okay. One thing I did, there are a couple other places on here we're going to touch, but one thing I don't believe I mentioned was I talked about the space moderated and how the difference between that is whether or not you get that queue of pending approval. And the space does not have to be moderated, however, for items to be flagged as inappropriate. I can switch this to no, and learners can still flag items as inappropriate and this moderate tab will still be there to take action on items being flagged. A space being moderated essentially means, which the description does say here, that any newly created reply or thread needs approval from a moderator. Just want to make that clarification. Another thing that admins have the ability to do is to manage users. So Will Gresham is the one that created the space. They are defaulted to moderator inactive, and that is you cannot switch yourself to not be a moderator or be inactive. However, you can switch any other person. These are the 4 people that have enrolled in this course in this classroom. You can make any of them a moderator. They do not have to be an admin. For instance, Abe Bowen, they only had 1 role as a purchasing agent. They are not an admin, but if you trust them, you can make them a moderator, and then they will have the ability to go in and moderate. They will not have all the admin abilities, but they will be able to approve replies and threads, and they'll also be able to approve or unflag items. If you also make a user inactive, anything that they had posted or put within the space will retain, it will stay there. But again, admins, moderators, if they'd like, they have the ability to delete any reply or thread, and they also have the ability to restore replies. If something has accidentally been deleted, they can restore. And I can't remember now if I showed it or not, but you can also, if a user flags something, you can unflag it if you made a mistake. If you get click happy and you flag something, you can unflag it. This also just gives a overview of who's in the space, how many threads and replies they've done, which you can filter on. And
hey, Luke, on who has the ability to be a moderator, and you can make anybody a moderator, does the instructor automatically have moderation capabilities, or does somebody have to flip that?
The only person who's automatically a moderator is whoever created the space. So if that is not the instructor, they would have to be switched to a moderator.
Okay.
We switch back over to the learner side here. Maybe we can see this. So in the learner section here, sorry, that is my own reply, so I cannot flag it. Excuse me. I can go in here. I just want to show I can flag this as inappropriate. This is a thread that has been flagged. I'm not logged in this. I'm on the wrong screen. I'm trying to find something here I can flag. So if I flag something as inappropriate, this one was previously flagged by a different user. They were flagged by the site admin, and I showed that you could not flag it again as the site admin, but this is just to show that I'm another user right now. I'm signed in as Charlie Moore. I have not flagged this yet, so I'm still able to flag it. But if I made a mistake, I can unflag it. Just wanted to show that difference there. Switch back over to admin. And I believe that is the items I wish to go over, unless there's any other questions.
I think we've hit them all so far. Yeah, I think we've hit them. All right, so I can go ahead and take control back over. Let's see. Sorry, let me find my. Wasn't expecting you to wind up so quickly there, Luke. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen again. Let's go to Okay, we can go back to our PowerPoint real quick. So in terms of reporting updates, just a couple things to go over. Some changes to the training assignment dashboard. So we'll get in there and poke around a little bit live. And then a couple of more basic things, custom fields now being available, or content-based custom fields available in training assignment reports, and having a new column in survey reports. Those are fairly straightforward. So we're going to focus on the assignment dashboard here. So let me go ahead and pull up the dashboard.
If you are sharing, we can't see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I not? Thank you. You're forgetting Zoom has an extra step.
They do.
There we go. So you should have the assignment dashboard now, right?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Sorry about that. Okay. So the training assignment dashboard is, previously geared around due dates. And so there's this overview area that tells you sort of all the assignments that are due in a certain range. You got a couple other tabs that would show what's overdue, who's due soon, but all pretty due date based. But not everybody uses due dates for their training assignments. And so if you don't use due dates, you're kind of left out in terms of being able to use this dashboard. So we did a few things here. And so I'm going to point out, some of them. So really the first thing is, this is really just a name change, but to be a little bit more specific. I believe this filter was originally just called time frame. It wasn't necessarily clear what that meant. And so really it was a due date range. So we've clarified that so that this filter, it's clear that, hey, we're filtering on assignments that have due dates in that range. But we could also include, this is the new item here. Hey, I also want to show assignments that have no due dates. When you do that, we're going to get a bunch more stuff that populates down here on our table below. So that's going to give us, it's going to be additive. So it's going to be all assignments that are due in this range and anything that doesn't have a due date. We could broaden that range, we could narrow that. Obviously when you have no due date, we're just going to say all of them are going to show up. So you may want to refine that a little bit further. Somehow I only want to see things that are more recently assigned. So that's why we've added a couple things based on assignment dates. So we not only have an assignment date filter here, but we also have an assigned on column that's sortable that again you can see in the data when an individual assignment was assigned. So this appears all the time, regardless of whether you're pulling assignments with no due date or not. I figure it's just generally useful to be able to show that information. But then, if I want to just show stuff that was assigned fairly recently, I can go back and, filter this. So I'm only seeing stuff assigned in the last, couple of months. Let's see. Is there any questions on that so far? Not yet. So in terms of other things, I think those are the basics on the training assignment dashboard. But one thing that I also wanted to mention, just because I've had a few questions over the last few months, and not everyone's aware of another feature that we had around. Let's see if we have any messages here around training assignments, training assignment summary emails. And so again, just wanted to make sure this has been out there for the last release or so. But just want to make sure that folks are aware that we also have, for those that are interested in pushing that information out to users, we have an email that can go out every day, every month, every week that can show users that are overdue, users that are due soon, and users that have no due date on and are incomplete. So there's a system event that we have that where you can manage that. So I just want to point that out as a reminder for those that are concerned about training assignments, notifying people about training assignments. And I guess the other thing, I should go back to the dashboard. Let's see. Again, this is, sorry, I should have shown this before I left. If we select some folks and let's see, so we can email people, we can email learners, we can email everybody, we can email learners manager, and one of the interesting things here is that, so obviously we have the automated emails that go out, but if you want to send something extra, because there's a special circumstance, right, you can go in and select users. But the nice thing is you don't have to make it super generic. You can use field codes to go in and, say, hey, this is the, URL, this is the assignment name. You can personalize it to put in the learner's name so that you don't have to, you can send it to multiple people while also having specific information about what the individual users are, have to go do. So again, this feature has also been out there for the last release. I just wanted to, again, we've had a number of questions just kind of recently about training assignments in general. So just wanted to make sure that folks were aware of that feature as well, another tool for you. Okay, so and just a couple other features here that we wanted to cover, a couple of miscellaneous enhancements. We made enhancement around surveys. And so we have a smile sheet survey. And page description, we can now use a bit more robust text. So we now actually have all sorts of text editing tools. So we can put in links, paragraph breaks, quotes, all kinds of stuff into this. So that we can have, again, a little bit more robust instructions as opposed to plain text. And then if we want to preview it, you can see exactly what that's going to look like for the learner as part of the survey. If you really want page one to be more descriptive, maybe not even have questions, or have this, at the end of the survey, we could do that. So just a cool little tool for you there.
Hey, Mike, we had a couple of questions come in about the training assignment dashboard.
Okay.
First one, does this show for direct reports and indirect or just direct reports?
So that's going to be based upon the setting at the top. So there is a, it's going to default to, I think it defaults to all, and then you can narrow it to your indirect.
A couple others here. We have a content item that is assigned to all users. I need to identify all users who are overdue regardless of assignment date or due date. Can you go over once more how to use the training assignment dashboard to provide this report to managers, leaders, etc.?
So if it's regardless of due date, so the overdue users, by default, this tab is going to give you all folks who are overdue, right? So I could refine this, and I don't want to see people in the last few months, but we're going back to the beginning. So this overdue tab should show you everybody that is overdue, regardless of when they were assigned or due. Similarly, that email, you could choose push this. So again, you may not, and part of the reason for the email is that, folks may not kind of wander over to this dashboard. You can give them a link to it, but sometimes it's easier just to have something show up in the dashboard. Now that's really all that you're, primarily concerned about. And let me just show real quick. So I think we have some time. In email management, system events. So that email I looked at before, it's called the team training assignment summary. And so these field codes will show which tables are going to show up in the email. So if you always have due dates, then you probably don't need to show the no due date table, and vice versa. If you never have due dates, you don't need to show the overdue and due soon. Cut those out. Or only, you want to tailor your message so it's only about overdue. We could, cut out these other couple, and it's just about overdue. But then, we can set the frequency. How often do you want these to go out? And again, this is going to go to a manager. It's going to be about their direct reports. So individuals would get the other reminder emails. The managers can get the summary email, again, on the interval that you specify. And again, that training assignment dashboard would show everybody that is overdue for your team, regardless of regardless of status or regardless of dates.
And looks like I kind of had to tack on to this. Can this be non-repeating?
Non-repeating in terms of the training assignments that do not repeat. So this would factor in both. So if it is due, next month, and it's going to be due a month from now, again, it's going to show whatever happens to be due soon in the next, I believe 90 days is the parameter. So whether it's recurring or it's a one-time, same thing if it's overdue, if it is the, fourth time you've had to do it, or the first, it would show here. Not sure if that answers the question, but it would take into account both recurring and non-recurring assignments for both the dashboard and the emails.
Those are all the current training assignment dashboard questions, unless more come in, but there is a survey question. Can I trigger a survey to be pushed to a learner can I trigger a survey to be pushed to learners at a specific interval after completion, for example, 6 months from completion date?
Yes, so that is a setting. It's not on the survey itself. It is on the course when you're adding the survey. Let me find a course and show you. Let's see. So let's grab an online course. Check it out. So in this surveys and evaluations area, we don't have anything there by default. I go ahead and add something. So if it's that, again, it could be that level 1 smile sheet. I didn't publish that. That's why it's not showing up here. But what you're getting at is more of this level 3 kind of thing, perhaps, or it could be, I guess it could be for the learner themselves. Course evaluation that we want to go out. Let's use that one. But when you assign it, it's not just whether or not it's required, but we could say when that becomes available. So we could say some date beyond completion, and maybe that's, again, 90 days, 180 days. And we can add that. And then they'll get a notification 180 days after completing the course. They have a survey to go fill out. And that could apply to either a survey that the learner fills out or an evaluation that their manager or instructor has to fill out sort of on their behalf, right? So did you notice any improvements on the job based upon, after the person took this class, and getting feedback on behavior changes, performance changes, things like
that. We have another one. Came in about training assignment dashboard. Do we have to manually add users to the training assignment dashboard? I have no users despite showing all domains.
You shouldn't have to add anybody to the dashboard. So we may want to take a look at your setup there. So essentially, for anybody logging in, looking at the dashboard, they should see anyone that reports in through them, and any assignments that are assigned to them. So you shouldn't have to do anything else special other than create the assignments, and then you're logging in as someone with some permission to those users. That should all flow naturally. So if you're not seeing anybody in there, we can reach out to you and figure out what's going on. Take a look through our support team, because you shouldn't have to do anything special. You shouldn't have to add people to the dashboard. You just need to make sure they have an assignment. Right. There are questions here.
One more. Can you remind me what email trigger is for course survey evaluation?
So I think the only email trigger is that there is one available. So really it's this use case, so that you've got something that becomes available after completion. We'll go ahead and email you, because normally you would see it as soon as you finish the course. Hey, now you have to go take a survey. So this is really like, hey, I haven't thought about this course in 3 months or 6 months. So we're letting you know that, hey, now there's something that we want you to go do. So we're triggering an email. Ready. Let's see. So I think, skip to the end here. Just a reminder on timeline. Again, if you have any other questions, please let us know. Next week, we're going to go over some of the e-commerce self-registration. And again, if there are other questions you all have, feel free to ask. You don't necessarily have to wait till then. If you have other questions, feel free to reach out to your customer support team, reach out to me or Luke. If you do have to create a ticket for anything, if you're noticing a problem, just make sure that you're mentioning that it's part of your stage environment. That'll help us to troubleshoot it.